What's good in your neighborhood? We got two big Nintendo Switch news stories to talk about late night style. I was out of town this weekend. My voice is a little gone at the Lions game. They lost. It sucked, but it was still a lot of fun. And so we're doing a good Monday, Mario. Good Monday, Switch fans. I got two big stories that have been going around and gaining popularity very quickly here that I want to discuss with all of you. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm going to break it down because one of these seems very big. It's not, and the other actually seems very small, but might be one of the best confirmations for Nintendo Switch 2 features yet. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's get right into it. We've got big headlines at some major websites saying things like Activision was briefed on Nintendo Switch 2 last year, and this is being circulated today as some brand spanking new big piece of info. Unfortunately, this is the freaking vinyl doing one of those little scratches. It's spinning back because we've already heard this. This actually originates from Microsoft's Activision Blizzard FTC debacle, where they're trying to get approval to make a big purchase. So it's being reported by sites like The Verge saying, oh my goodness, Activision executives met with Nintendo in December to discuss plans for a next generation Switch, which is described as closer to PS4, Xbox One performance. Yet we knew this. If you recall, this is like a few months ago at this point, there were some emails that were presented in the Activision Blizzard Microsoft FTC case, and it was about Bobby Kotick talking with Furukawa about like, hey, next gen Switch, oh, it's going to be close to the Gen 8 systems, oh, Call of Duty. It was all those discussions, right? And they referred to it as Switch NG, Switch Next Generation, and this sounds really exciting that like, oh my goodness, like they talked about this already almost a full year ago. They were briefed on it. It's got to be really close. Getting Call of Duty on the platform is exciting. We know about this 10-year deal that's been worked out. Sadly, like this is all old info. I think what's happening here is that after Eurogamer and VGC like dumped their sources on Switch 2 at Gamescom, other sites were like, we want in. What can we talk about? And so they're recycling this stuff. Now, I guess some of these emails and documents were made more like officially public today or yesterday, and that's part of the reason for the reporting, but we already knew about it. Every piece of information here was known. There is nothing that new, and well, nothing really new at all. We knew that it was going to be close to PS4, Xbox One. We knew that, oh, Activision knew about it. We knew that there was emails between Furukawa. Like, we knew all this stuff. So this one, unfortunately, is like, it's still good info. It's still good intel. This still is true. This isn't like fake or fabricated, but it's old, and it's interesting that it's resurfacing months later. I think something about the emails becoming official as opposed to being leaked out or something of that sort. Nonetheless, what does this mean for us? It means that Nintendo has been prepping and planning Nintendo Switch 2 for a while now. They talked to Activision about it as a major potential partner, and that bodes well for Call of Duty, for, you know, any other number of games from Activision Blizzard's library, and possibly Microsoft's, that could come to Nintendo Switch 2 when it launches sometime in 2024. Now, the other piece of info is, I think, a bigger deal, even though it seems smaller on the surface. And I gotta give a shout out to Dr.81 over on YouTube, because he is so good at sleuthing through this sort of stuff. We know from the VGC and Eurogamer reports that, hey, Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty powerful, but it's using DLSS extensively to help things look and run and perform better because of this software machine learning algorithm, right? This is the secret sauce that's allowing lower powered Nintendo hardware to execute and run projects and games that look pretty darn spiffy. Remember, the Matrix demo supposedly looked almost as good as the PS5. Like, that's all thanks to DLSS and machine learning. This is one of the biggest assumptions we've made about Nintendo Switch 2, is that like, oh, it's taking advantage of this tech because it's the best way for Nintendo to not go crazy on the power front, but still achieve really nice performance and really nice graphics, a big impressive boost from what we have on Switch 1. Well, this is very, very cool because this is a job listing just posted by Nintendo themselves. Nintendo America Careers, okay? They have a job opening for a data engineer in machine learning. This basically should be read as DLSS guy or DLSS girl or DLSS person. It's in Redmond, Washington, which is where their North American headquarters are. And it says, we at Nintendo are looking for a data engineer to help with integration of machine learning technologies on low power embedded platforms. I find this line remarkably honest and also a little bit sad. Integration of DLSS onto low power platforms. Oh, They mean this is not DLSS going on like a high-powered PC, DLSS going on the latest and greatest PS5. This is DLSS going on a low-power platform. Now, you might think that means Switch, but in fact, I believe this is referring to Nintendo Switch 2 because technically, the reason that DLSS is such an important secret sauce for Nintendo Switch 2 is because in comparison to its contemporaries, it is low-power hardware. But thanks to DLSS and Nintendo's tricks and all the magic that they're able to put in there, it still should run and play very great. But when we're talking about something that is like PS4 powered, but then using machine learning to really up the ante, it still qualifies as a low power platform because PS4 came out, nearly a decade ago. You'll be working at the intersection of machine learning inference engines and embedded systems, DLSS, facing challenges that stem from processing and memory constraints and a power budget. So again, this is talking about like the new Switch, and hey, it's got memory constraints, it's got a power budget, it's got processing constraints. You're not given just like a PC that has like all the willy-nilly parts in the world. This is going to be a reduced system that still, again, like don't get me wrong, this still will be significantly better than Switch, but in comparison to something like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or a modern gaming PC, yes, it's got constraints. Tasks include, but are not limited to, porting of machine learning frameworks to embedded platforms, evaluation and benchmarking of machine learning hardware solutions, selection and optimization of machine learning models to fit power, memory, and CPU budgets. Now, something very interesting that I didn't recognize with this that Dr. 81 pointed out was that saying they already need them to select and optimize machine learning models to fit power, memory, and CPU budgets indicates to him that they've already settled and decided on Nintendo Switch 2's power, memory, and CPU budget. And now they need people to come in, contractors to come in, and help them really make sure DLSS is running smooth with the hardware that they have. So this indicates a couple of things. One, it indicates that yes, indeed, Nintendo is basically confirming DLSS from their own mouths. If you didn't believe it from all the reports, the rumors, the Nate Drakes, the Eurogamers, the VGCs, the me's, the U's, now you can believe it from Nintendo because they're specifically hiring someone to work on a low power embedded platform with machine learning, which is DLSS on a Nintendo Switch. Boom. This is your DLSS on Switch confirmation. It's also interesting to note that they're hiring this contractor to do things like optimize the machine learning to fit power, memory, and CPU budgets, which indicate, hey, they're looking for optimization, right? This is really pushing towards the end of getting this Switch 2 ready to go. I think this does also give you further confirmation from the horse's mouth that, hey, this system is about ready. I'm not saying it's coming out next week or even early 2024, but it's about ready. It has to be ready well in advance of launch, but they're about ready to go. They're about ready to show, and about ready could mean, within the next 6 months. I think that's a fair time frame, and that is what this kind of indicates to me based on how they're hiring, what they're hiring for, and the fact that they're willing to just publicly post this. I think it's interesting that, hey, they're just looking for this, and I think it's interesting that they are so humble with their low power platform. Now, perhaps they are talking about Nintendo Switch 1 as well. Maybe they will use it to their advantage. We know that Nintendo is experimenting with FSR technology on Nintendo Switch, which is AMD's equivalent of DLSS. It's definitely not as strong or as impactful as what DLSS 3.5 will be able to provide on Nintendo Switch 2 and what people who were supposedly demoed the games at Gamescom. The Eurogamer report from Gamescom said that they saw, obviously that's a significant boost, but hey, they have used some machine learning technology previously on Nintendo Switch, and maybe they will continue to integrate some of that into Switch. And hey, in fact, maybe even some of their workings with DLSS and NVIDIA on Nintendo Switch 2 could help things out across the board. I'm very hopeful that when the specs come out for this system, we don't jump to conclusions, because I think that's what's going to happen immediately is people are going to say, oh my gosh, the Switch 2 is not very powerful. It can't stand its own ground. It's nowhere near where it needs to be. And then it's like, yes, but remember, DLSS. DLSS is it's like the frosting on the cake. The cake is okay, but that frosting, that's the stuff that you really want, and we can't just judge the raw specs. We have to look at the whole scenario, consider all the pieces, and consider the DLSS special sauce that's going to really amp things up. So even if the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out and it's like, wow, this is like a PS4. Remember, this is a portable hybrid PS4 that also has 10 years advanced machine learning technology and 10 years advanced other nuances and tech advances that will help boost Nintendo Switch 2 to look, perform, play, and have a better experience than PS4. That, I think, is going to be how it goes down, and we're just going to have to make sure we navigate that. And I hope Nintendo has a really good way of showcasing this so we see, wow, it's more than just a PS4, right? Like, they can hopefully demo things in a way, and it's always tough with YouTube compression and online video and streams and whatnot, but hopefully they'll be able to get some units out there. They'll be able to get people seeing this on the Switch screen, whatever the new screen looks like. They'll be able to hopefully convey and help us see, like, yes, it does have low-powered hardware in comparison, but with what we're doing and how we're optimizing it, look, it's going to look stupendous, and it's going to be a significant upgrade, because at the end of the day, that's what it needs to be, right? It needs to be a significant, not just a moderate, but a significant upgrade over Switch 1. And I think no matter what the numbers come out at, what the RAM is, right, what the chip is, what any of that is, if it looks, plays, runs, and performs significantly better than Switch, it's a victory. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you seen these stories floating around today? Are you excited that Dlss is basically confirmed? And what do you think about the resurfacing of these Activision stories? Had you heard that before? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, SwitchForce out.